like 50% of the population, we are very scared of things that we don't know. We receive calls every time. People like you, like, I'm sorry, I don't know how to start to buy a house, and it's something that it's not teach in the school. It's high school, and some families they don't talk about it. In my family, we never talk about how to buy a house. Well, and it's something that people think that everybody knows about it, and nobody knows about it until you do it and you go through that. So that's the first thing. It's normal not to know nothing of how to buy a house, and actually, I think as professionals, we make it sound more complicated than it is, and in reality, it's simple. Not easy, simple. So I would start to just choosing an agent and a lender. You need to first choose an agent that you feel comfortable talking to, that you feel comfortable asking the question without feeling it's going to be a stupid question. It's not. And ask all the questions you want because it's the most important financial decision of your life, probably ever. So you need to feel comfortable to ask, what does it mean PMI? What does it mean escrow? What does it mean down payment? We also love to use those jargon, very fancy. And most of the time we have another word for that, and we should be also be able to explain that. Once you have somehow chosen with which agent, the you need to talk to a lender here, Elysia, and the master of the lending universe, and the same, you need to talk or your bank. If you have a credit union, you have had a relationship with them. We are going to give you when somebody calls us, like call us every week. I always give different names because we don't care if you work. Well, I do care. Because I've had loan with lenders and the communication is bad. My house, when I tried to buy a house with some lenders, the communication was very bad. With others, were very fluent, and it can make you stress unnecessary or stress your agent unnecessary. You talk to a lender that you feel also comfortable to ask these basic stupid questions, and they are there for that. They are going to ask you uncomfortable questions as well. Sometimes we have done things in the past financially that we are not proud, and it's totally fine. I like to call them like the doctor. We don't want to talk certainty to the doctor, but you need to, because talking to him and tell them all these things we are ashamed of are going to help them to help you. If you hide things like, yeah, actually, I spent 3 years not paying my credit card or my bill or whatever, for X reason, if they don't know that from the beginning, it's going to damage your future or your purchase process. So the better is be totally transparent, tell them all your situation, and they are going to be able to tell you you're ready to buy now or in a year or in 2 years. But then better, the sooner the better. If you're maybe you're not ready to buy now, and you need to take 7, 6 steps, take care of things, it's going to take time. If you start today, you may be ready sooner than later. But if you wait because it's uncomfortable, you don't want, but you want to buy a house, but you don't have any money, and you're ashamed, you're 42 years old, you don't have savings, I don't want to talk about that, but I want to buy a house. You wait until the last minute when you really want to buy a house, you're not in the best position, it's going to cost you money. You're going to buy a house with 60, 20 credit score and $1,000 in savings, and it's possible, you can buy, but you will be in better position if 1 year ago you call the lender, you talk to them, they tell you, hey, today you will buy, but it's going to cost you more money than if you wait a little, you work on your credit score doing this, you save a little bit more, so the interest rate you're going to pay is going to be a little bit cheaper. The house price is going to go up a little, maybe, not now anymore, that's much, but your credit score is going to increase. And when your credit score is going to increase, the interest rate you're going to pay for the house is going to be cheaper. So the same house, two buyers, one buyer with a 700 and one buyer with 600 are going to pay more for the house, the one with the lower credit score. That's why it's so important that even if you don't plan to buy next month, if you're planning to buy in 2 years, start now what to do. Also, because there's a lot of myths about buying a house, about credit score. Somebody's going to tell you, pay off your debt. Sometimes, you agree with me, it's better not to pay off your debt. Sometimes, not all the time, but it's going to decrease your credit score. And sometimes you need to pay off debt because it's going to increase your DTR, to your corporate. When you talk to an agent, when you talk to Barry, talk to me, or any of George, any of our agents, you need to feel comfortable with them, as I say. You are going to tell them what you're looking for, and depending is going to be based on what you are pre-approved. You're going to get pre-approved by a lender. It's going to tell you, okay, the best loan for you is going to be X. I'm not going to use names because we get lost in all this lexical and everything. This is your type of loan. Some types of loans are going to allow you to buy some types of houses. Other types of loans is going to let you buy some types of houses. So we need to qualify for the loan, but the house also needs to qualify for the loan. Do you want to spend? Where do you want to live? You need to think before, because the agents can help you to do what you to look to find what you want, but we don't know what you want really. So you make a list. I always say to my clients, make a list of the minimum requirements. It's a minimum two bedrooms. I'm not going to look at a house without a yard, and then make a list of wish list. Like, it could be great to have, but it's not a deal breaker. It's very help you to put in a paper your ideas, and sometimes you realize that you need to think about certain points that you haven't think about before. If that makes sense, it doesn't make sense, so nothing about it. Uh, During some years, there have been a kind of discussion of um, why to have an agent. It costs me money. We don't need someone to show me. We are not door openers. We are not going there opening the house. The reason you need representation is, and it's very unique. I always say that to friends, that I think it's not very common in all the countries in the world that the buyers have the possibility to have their own agent, their own person to talk on their behalf. In other countries, just one of the listing agents, and it's going to just take care that the transaction goes through. But your agent is going to look for your best interest. It's our duty. Our duty is to protect your interests and represent you. We are also try to make just suggestions with no emotions on that. buying a house is very emotional, and sometimes we get lost in our feelings, stress. My mother said that she lost so much money in 2008, and I don't want to go through that. Yeah, I'm living in an apartment today, but if I'm going to buy a 3 bedroom, 2 bedroom house with 3 acres house. Yeah, okay. Look what is your goal. Your goal is to have a house, be homeowner. So go step by step. So the agent is going to represent you through negotiation. It's going to help you to make an offer. It's going to suggest to help you which is the value of the house. We are not perfect. Some houses are going to be overpriced because we made mistakes pricing a house. The other parties can help you. Hey, this house I think we can offer a little bit less. Or the opposite, let's not to make an offer very much lower than the listing price because it's very well priced and we can lose it if we don't. They know the market. They are supposed to know what's going on. So they're going to help you with that. From the moment you have the offer accepted, you're under contract, all these stressful weeks of the inspection, appraisal, financing, they're going to be there for you to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Okay?
So when, as a buyer, you hire an agent, how do those fees usually?
And this is exactly what we want to talk. The fees, when you're going to hire an agent, the agent's going to ask you to sign a representation agreement, like an attorney, like a CBA. In this representation agreement, we need to have the conversation to tell you how much the brokerage charge for their fees. Can be 1%, 2%, 3%, 4% of the purchase price. Can be a flat fee. Each broker decide the fee they're going to ask for the buyers. It's a broker decision, and the agents, we just comprehend that.
Okay, so let it be a flat fee or to be a percent.
Depending on the agent. I know, for example, in our brokerage, we ask for 3% for our representation, 3% of the purchase price. And you engage that if we find the house that you're looking for and we bring you to the closing table, you will need to pay for that fee. It can happen that some seller agree to cover that fee for the buyer. In most of the areas, especially here, but it's very normal that the buyers, they don't have more money to pay for their fees. So it's very common and no surprise that when we write an offer as a seller concession, do you know that word? Like we ask to the seller, okay, Mr. Smith is offering $300,000 for your house, and they are asking you, the seller, to pay the representation, the fee for the broker that is 3%. And also they ask you for pay for the closing costs. And also they ask you to repair the stairs, and we see that it's broken. Everything is negotiable. The seller can say no. And then we need to have a conversation. How do you want to handle it? Do you want to counter? Do you agree to pay for my fee? No, it's a regular fee. I can't pay for your fee. I don't have any cash. Let's go to another house that the seller agreed to pay. If the buyer doesn't have the money, the cash, or the ability to pay for the representation, we can ask the seller to cover that. The seller can say no. The seller can say yes.
So when you hire an agent as a buyer too, so would that agent do like the title searches, the comps in the area, all that kind of thing?
Title search is an attorney. It's an attorney who does this. Let's go through the process if you want.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about the process. So you get pre-approved, you decide what you want to look for, you go to look for houses, you find the house. You make an offer. So how does it work? It's a contract, it's in 2 steps. A signed contract, offer, accepted, we are on the contract, and then the execution of the contract happens 4 weeks, 6 weeks after. When we sign here and somebody signed the deed, I give you the keys. So from the moment we have an accepted offer, we are under contract. It's the word we use. That period of time, what is going to happen is, this is what we're doing. When we are making an offer, We're going to negotiate the price, but we're also going to negotiate the price. Is not the only thing that's important. Okay, a seller is going to be ready to sell their house a little bit cheaper for a cash offer, for example. A buyer is bringing with the cash because there's no risk for them. They know they're going to be able to buy because they have the money. A seller maybe it's ready to lower a little bit the price if there is no contingencies. Contingencies is a condition for you to really go to buy a house. So you make an offer, they accept, they say my offer is contingent on inspections or on financing. I'm going to make a termite inspection, I'm going to make a mold inspection, and I'm going to make a general condition inspection. For the sellers, maybe it's a lot of condition. I don't know if that house is going to qualify, is going to pass all the inspections and say, no, you know what, I'm going to wait for another buyer that make me offer as it is. I always recommend to do inspections, always. Doesn't matter if you're going to buy a fixer-upper, you're going to buy a house that is distressed and needs a lot of work, you do an inspection, you need to know what you're buying. It's what I recommend. So your offer is always contingent, can be always contingent of what you want. And your agent, depending on the house, depending on your situation, depending on your loan, is going to recommend you which contingents we can ask on the offer. And we have a contingency period. We have 14 days to verify everything. We can verify the property boundaries. Maybe he claimed, like the house we're talking about, the seller maybe they say, it's 4 acres because my grandfather, when he gave me the key of the house, he said 4 acres, but the PVA says 2 acres. The only way to know is to get a surveyor, get a survey. Let's do that. It's the time you need to verify. It's very cool because you have the time to check everything what they have been told you about the house. You check everything and then you can say, okay, let's move forward. This is the contingency period. You have time to verify, to be sure what you're buying, okay? After these 14 days, normally what it happened is the lender has started to work already. Sorry, I'm going to go back to the concessions contingency. This contingency we're going to do, for example, a home inspection. This here, the realtor can help you, or you can do it yourself. There are licensee inspectors that can go to your house. It costs $500, $600, depending on the size of the house. It can be a bit cheaper. But they are going to go through the house and make a report to tell you which are the problems of the house. And this is super important. It's not a repair list. It's not going to tell, well, it's going to say everything, what to say. Broken window, a hole in the wall, an outlet that is missing, a sink that is leaking, foundation problems. So the inspection report is going to tell you everything about the house, but it doesn't mean that the seller is going to be ready to repair everything what's on it. He's selling a house that has been built for years, and he's not going to paint, for example, or what we are going to use from that report is I miss the word. Safety issues of the house that you can choose, walk out of the deal and say, listen, you know what? I don't want the house anymore. It's too many problems. Or say, okay, let's ask the seller to fix that steps. Let's ask the seller to fix the leaking. The seller can say yes. The seller can say no. So we are still negotiation. The seller is not obligated to do any repair he doesn't want. He can offer credit, money for you to do the repair when you buy the house. So it's here again that your realtor is going to guide you and balance all these emotions, because all the houses have problems. Oh, but you need to relativize. We need to you don't listen to me. We need to contain this situation.
So the reverse side of that would be as the seller, you go make the changes or the fixes or whatever, the buyer's still under no obligation to purchase.
The buyer is under obligation to continue with the contract. If you have made a repair, you have 14 days of whatever. You can negotiate 21 days, or you can negotiate 30 days of due diligence periods. Okay. I'm going to use 14 days because it's the common here, but you can use 1 month if you want. The seller maybe don't accept, but you can ask whatever. During that period, you do your inspection, just say, okay, you know what? I want the seller to do this, this, this. The realtor is going to prepare a very detailed report with photos. What I do is I use the photos of the inspector. I point exactly what needs to be done, and I ask them, prepare and send me a proof what is done. I have been to have repairs requests, agreed. Yeah, it's agreed. Have the invoice. I send the inspector. The inspector saying nobody has touched this pipe. So everything can happen. Sorry, to go to your question. Once the seller has agreed to your request, to your repair, now you are good with your due diligence. Now you have satisfied your due diligence. You have verified anything you want, everything you want. You have made your requests. Your requests have been accepted or no. You have negotiated. You get to an agreement. You sign a paper, and it's gone. Now the other contingency, well, it can be a lot of contingencies. So you can put in your contract financial contingency, or maybe you have the contingency to sell the house. For example, you have a house that is a rental. Maybe you change your mind in a few months, say, you know what? We are going to sell the house. I use the proceeds to buy a new one. What you can do is you can make tomorrow an offer on a house saying contingency on inspection, financial, and the sale of my current house. And the seller can accept that he's ready to wait 2 months until you sell your house to buy the new one. It's a contingency. Everything it's all the contingencies we have to be very clear with the timing. Until what time each party has to do their own duties. That makes sense.
So seller,
Exactly. It's the perfect example. They went to their inspection. Something was wrong. They asked us to reverse. They asked, actually what they asked was for $5,000 credit. They asked for credit. We say no. Answered from the seller, we don't agree to give you $5,000 credit. We agree to do the reverse, to put it in the same condition as it was during the inspection. Okay, accepted. And now the seller the obligation is to have that ready for the final walkthrough. Okay, that's another step we're gonna do. So it's the perfect example for that. Another contingency that is very common is going to be financial contingency. You are going to engage yourself. You are going to buy the house. If the bank follow you, if you get the mortgage, that's why it's very important to have this pre-approval letter before you are doing an offer. Because when I'm representing a seller and I receive an offer, contingent of the financing, I'm gonna say, okay, yes, but let me see the pre-approval. I want to see that at least you already have talked to a lender. At least you are pre-approved. Then everything can happen. You can lose your job in the middle of that period, escrow period, and you cannot qualify for a mortgage anymore. But that's real estate. That happens. It's life. Or the bank check something that, because pre-approval is a little bit superficial, right? It doesn't go deep. So it can happen that you're pre-approved and then it's still qualified because you weren't totally transparent with your lender and you forgot that I don't know.
So usually it comes back on the person, my boy.
And also something that is, I tell our buyers all the time is from the moment you're going to start to decide you're going to buy a house until the moment you have the keys, you don't make any big expenses. You don't do nothing with your credit card without talking to them or talking to me. Because it can happen, people are like, we're on the contract, let's go to buy the furniture. Credit card, boom, or we're going to buy the furniture, we're going to pay them in installments, boom, credit score goes down, you don't qualify anymore for you. So it's a moment, the escrow period, from the moment you have an accepted offer until the moment you close, you just hold your breath enough to keep your oxygen in your body, and whatever you're going to do, you just talk to your agent. That's why it's so important to choose your agent, to choose your lender, because you have to be comfortable to ask, can I put gas in my car today? Yeah, of course. And it's fine, okay? But you need to feel comfortable to feel silly, if you want to use that word, okay? what is happening under contract is Croverio under contract. You have the offer accepted. It's going to be a little bit stressful, but necessary. You need to be ready to be cooperative, to be joinable. The lender has a family and a private life, and you cannot expect for them to contact you at 8 when you arrive home to ask you for the documents, and you take 1 week to send them your tax return of 2024. You need to be cooperative. If the lender sends you an email, please send me this and this. Send them everything together in one email, PDF. Try, test that the PDF, you can read it. If you need to scan, look for solutions. Don't expect to be babysitter. And if you don't have the solution, ask your realtor, ask your agents. The lender and the agent have other clients. So when they ask you to do something, it's a team. You need to do it. If you cannot tell them, you cannot do it. But we expect for you to be adult and to be mature and to take the phone. We understand there's work. We understand there's life. But when somebody asks you for a paper, most of the time they need this paper for another process, for keep going in the chain. So we want everything to go smooth. We need collaboration and be joinable, communicative. Also very important to set up your expectation. When you are going to do your interview with your agents and to say, hey, listen, I only can talk the weekends because I have very stressful work. Your agent can say, you know what? I can work on a weekend if it's an emergency, but I also have another private matters. We are not a good fit. Thank you very much for your time. Nice to meet you. With glad. Bye. Or the agent say, yes, great, because I work in real estate just a weekend, and it's the perfect time for me to talk to you, to go through the things that need to be done. There is one agent for each type of client. So you need to find your perfect need, but you need to be clear what your needs, your expectations. You cannot, for example, myself, I go to bed at 9. So if somebody texts me at 9:30, I'm trying not to even look to my phone now. So somebody arrived from work at 8:30 and I don't answer the text at 9:30, they can be disappointed. Why? Because we didn't talk and we didn't set up our expectation, which is very important. So yeah, we were talking about the steps, just to have it clear, and I'm going to go very superficial. We are on the contract. The very, very, very first thing you need to do as soon as possible is the inspections. We have that duties period, 2-3 weeks. You get satisfied, you know everything you need to know about the house. As the repair is agreed, we sign a document. Then we call the lender, hey, we are going to go, start the loan application. The lender starts to work on his side. He's going to ask you a bunch of favors that you don't know what they are, but you find a solution for that. And the repairs are done, you are backing, everything is done. Then before closing, we are going to do a final walkthrough just to be sure that the repairs that they were supposed to be done are done, and also that the house hasn't burned, hasn't flooded, there is no leak, nothing, that you're sure that what you're buying is what you want to buy. For that final walkthrough is normally 1 day or 2 days before closing. The seller, it's polite to have all the personal property already removed and give you access to the property. To the 3 days before closing, you're going to receive what is a closing disclosure. It's a document that's going to give you all the costs, all your closing costs, all the money information. We cannot tell you, and we have this question all the time, how much I'm going to pay in closing costs. They can give you an idea, but the real number is going to be 3 days before. So we cannot, you have to be ready to pay $100 less, $100 more, or maybe sometimes there's more variation, right?
Like homeowners insurance constantly variation.
Yeah. Good point. I haven't talked about the homeowners insurance. During this escrow period, you can start to look for a homeowners insurance. You have to have it ready, activated, and paid for the day you're supposed to close. So you can start to look for quotes, all the homeowner insurance you want. Be very careful what you are looking at, what you are going to sign, because if your house burn or, you know, there's a storm, I mean, you have